everyone, welcome back. This is Jonna with Purple Girl Crafts. Today we are going to make a shutter card. This does have a belly band, and when you take off the belly band and you open up the card, you get a great surprise inside the shutter window. So this card will lay flat for shipping, and it will stand nicely on its own. So I'm laying this down so you can see about how far to open up the window so you get that full effect with the shutter. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to need is we're going to need our scoreboard. And for the base of the card, we are going to need one piece, and this piece is going to be cut at 10 inches by 6.5 inches. We're going to turn this back on the 10-inch side, and we are going to score this at 2.5 and 7.5. So that will be for the base piece. Next, we need one piece, and this is going to be cut at 7.5 by 3. We're going to score this at 1/2 inch and 7 inches on the 7.5 inch side. So you'll basically have 1/2 inch on each end. So next, we will need 4 pieces. These are cut at 2.25 by 6.25, and these will be the mats for the inside and front of the card. Next, we will need 4 pieces. These are cut at 2 inches by 6 inches. These will lay on top of the mat that we just did. It'll just give it some shimmer behind those hearts. Next, we will need one piece. This piece is going to be cut at 6.25 by 2.75 inches. This piece is going to lay on the inside panel. This piece we are going to need to cut a window out of. So I have nesting dies. So this first circle, I believe it's 2 inches. This piece does measure 2 inches in diameter. And I'm laying this upside down just so I can show you where I'm showing you. This is where it's going to cut, so it's not going to be the full outside circle. So this piece needs to be secured to this bottom piece. You can do it before, you can cut them out separately, or you can do it at the same time. You can also put this at the top, or you could put it towards the middle or even the bottom. So you can put this in the middle. Mine's going to be about 1 inch from the edge. Yes, 1 inch. So I'm going to cut that out. And then for the other ring, I'm going to make a banner, or the edge of it, that'll fit over the edge of the circle. And you just do that by placing 2 rings together and then cutting out your circle. So I have already cut a piece out. I just want to show you what to do. So I have secured mine and cut my circle out already. And this is just a different color of paper. This just adds a great finish to the card. So I'm going to put this aside because I'm going to make 2 cards. So this is for the second card that I'm going to make. So for the shutter part, I have this cute little mouse that I drew, and he's about 4 inches by 3 inches. And he's just going to sit behind this window. You can use a smaller design. You can use, a sentiment. My mouse is just a little bit big, but we're just going to go ahead and go with him. Next, we need one piece, and this is cut at 4.75 by 6.25. And then we need 2 pieces. These are going to be cut at 3.75 by 3.5. And on the 3.75 inch side, you want to score this at 1/2 inch. And you want to do that on both of them. And these will be for the shutter part of the card. Next, we need one piece, and this is cut at 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. Now we're going to work on the shutter pieces. So what you want to do is you're going to want to fold down that score line and go ahead and crease that out. And then, so we're going to turn this upside down, and I'm going to mark this at 1 5/8. And this will just be for a guide. I'm doing it on the wrong side so you don't have to worry about erasing it because no one's going to see it. We're just going to do this as a guide, so we're just going to do a light pencil mark. We're going to turn it, and we're going to mark the center, and this is going to be at 1 5 or 7/8. And then I'm just going to put a small mark in the center of that line that we just drew. Now we're going to connect the corner to that center line on both sides. So this is what you should have, and then we're going to cut out this one section. And I'm just going to use my scissors. And we're just going to cut just on this line. Now I'm going to take the second piece and I'm going to lay this on top of it, and we're just going to draw a line. We're just going to trace this out. You could measure it again, but it's just as easy just to do this and then cut those lines out. So these now will be for the shutter of the window, and they will intertwine and overlap each other. So we're done with the scoreboard, so we're going to move that aside. Now we're going to start the assembly of the card. So for the base of the card, we are going to fold in towards the center the 2 score lines that we had created. Just make sure those are lined up and then crease those out. So I'm just going to turn the card and I'm going to do the same thing. You want to make sure that this is perfectly lined up and it's not overlapping. So that is the base piece of our card. So now for the mats and layers and the assembly of the card, I'm going to show you where the pieces go. So the white cardstock will be for the back piece, so you can write a message. And then for the inside of the card, this center piece will be sitting right here. But before we secure that down, we have the basic cardstock that will fit in the center section. And then we have the 4 pieces with the 2 mats, if I can find them. And they will sit on the inside panel. And then for the front of the card, we will again have the 2 metallic pieces. And the layers on top of those. And you want to make sure that your patterns are going the right way. So we're going to do the assembly of this card. Okay, now for the inside of the card, we're going to work on the two side pieces that are going to be the shutter piece. Now you can assemble this in different steps. I like to put this on so I can see to make sure that it is going to close properly. So the easiest way for me to do this is to line this up so that the card does close, the shutter part does, that it's centered on the card, and that it does not get caught on the side, because when you glue down, it's going to glue to those two side panels. So mine is about 3/4 of an inch from the edge. I'm just making sure this is lined up. And then it's about 1/4 of an inch from each side. So I'm going to put glue just on these two edges, the 1/2 inch side that we had scored. And then I'm going to close the one side down on top of it, press that down. Before I open it, I'm going to glue the other side down just so that it doesn't move, making sure that it's completely lined up still. And then just close that flap down on it and press that glue down. I'll make sure that gives it a second to dry, and then when you open it, it will work. Now when you do this, you want one flap up and one flap down. And that'll make that nice squish mark when you open it. Okay, now for the second piece, I'm going to lay the hearts down at the bottom because I want the whole pattern of the inside of the paper to match. I did not do a mat because the card gets a little bit thick. And then we're just going to glue this piece. Now, for the little mouse that we're going to do, first we're going to line up this center piece, and I'm just going to make sure it's in the dead center of the card. So I'm just going to put glue on the one flap, and I'm doing it at the top first. I'm going to line it up so it's in the center of the card and lined up with the top edge of the card. And these ended up being about 1 inch from the edge on each side. We'll just use our bone folder and make sure that we push out that glue. Make sure you get rid of any extra. And then we're going to lay this down. Now for the little guy that's in the window, we're going to line him up so he's along this edge right here. And then we're just going to glue him down. Just making sure there's no glue on there at all. So when you close this, make sure one is on top of the other. You're going to lay this flap back down, and then we're going to glue that flap to the inside of the card. Tuck it underneath the inside. So we're going to put glue on this last piece at the bottom, and then we're going to close this down, and you just want to tuck this in. so that it gets glued to the inside of the bottom of the card. I'm just going to push that just a little bit, make sure that glue is tight. And then when you open it up, it'll reveal your little pop-up. And there you have it. That's the inside of the card. Now for the back piece, I'm just going to secure that piece of paper, the white cardstock, so I can write a note. I like the way this turned out. Now we're going to do the belly band. Since I've done belly bands in the past, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to fast forward and do that. But before I do the belly band, I noticed that I forgot to hit record on the inside banner that I did. So I just stamped a banner and then I just glued it to that inside piece as I'm showing you here. Now for the front of the card, I did add a red heart. That's just a little bit oversized just to hide that seam. The seam is in the front of the belly band. So then I took some hearts, I'd stamped them with love, hugs, kisses. Those will be on the embellishment on the front of the belly band. So that is the card that we made today. So I want to thank you for crafting along with me today. I hope you enjoyed making this card as much as I did. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And until next time, happy crafting and see you real soon. Bye-bye.